Hey there, this is Pastor Tabitha Purple. I'm doing our video thought for today. This is day 2 of our 7-day mini series. I'm hoping that each month I will do a 7-day mini series devotional thought. So this is day 2. Okay, so today's one is taken from Romans, and it's taken from Romans chapter 6. Verses 20. It's a challenging text, actually. Romans is a difficult book. So if you ever thought that the New Testament is the easy part of the Bible, read Romans and you'll think again. It can be quite conflicted. But let's see. What does the text say? For when you were slaves of sin, you were free with regard to righteousness. Hang on, what? What is happening in this text? What is really interesting is this idea of freedom. So what I hear a lot of times is that people don't want to be part of a religion or part of a religious organization because they're seeking their freedom. They want to be free. Free is a really important state of being. And I remember when I was a teenager, I come from a really strict background. My mum was really hard on me. She dictated every part of my life, made most of my choices, and all I could think about was being free of those choices. And I remember, so I wasn't allowed to date until I was 18. So we can talk about that for days. That's another video. But I remember when my 18th birthday started to approach, I had to actually come up with a reason that I didn't want to date, because actually it had built up into this thing and I didn't want to go out with anyone. I didn't want to have a date. So then I was like, up until now, I've been using my mum as an excuse. When a guy would come up and chat to me, I would say chirps back in the day. You would just be like, I'm really sorry, but my mum doesn't want me to date. And then when my 18th birthday started approaching, I was like, I don't have that excuse no more. I've got to find something for myself. And then I realized that, like, freedom, it has some kind of double edge to it. You have to take responsibility for your stuff. Like, you're free, but the responsibility is yours to act wisely, to actually live a life with integrity, to figure out your own values, to think about who you want to be. And I think a lot of times what I see is a lot of people are like me when I was 18, kind of scared. The reins are taken off. You've got this big wide world and you can do anything because, you know what, I don't come from a faith background. I don't have this responsibility to God to be this, whatever I think that kind of person is. I don't have to do that. So I'm just going to do this and I'm going to do whatever I want. And there are consequences to each of those things that then people try to run away from. They try to hide from. They try to shift from. And I think it's really difficult to talk about freedom when we're not being honest about that. And for me, like, my 18th birthday was a serious moment of honesty, because after that I had to start thinking of actual real genuine reasons I didn't want to go out with people. And this was long before people knew that you should just say no and your no was enough as a woman. Back then, when you said no, like, you had to come up with like 5 degrees of reasons why you didn't want to go out on a date with someone, or else you could, like, I grew up in a different era, so you could end up in trouble. And I learned over the years that my no should be no, and I didn't have to do that. But it was really tough. And there were days when, you know, as my 20s rolled on, I really struggled with setting boundaries, with being proud of myself, with really having that down and saying no meant no. No didn't mean push harder. No didn't mean I was maybe thinking about it. No actually means no. Like, just because I respond physically doesn't mean I actually want something. And that was a real struggle for me. And I see that with the way that people make choices. So when I hear a text like this in Romans, when it talks about the fact that, you know, there's a time when sin is not a thing. You don't know that you're in sin. So what difference is it making? But you also don't know how to live right. And there's a responsibility that comes with living right. And I think that we have to reflect on that. What does it mean to live right? How does it mean to live with integrity, to live with making the right choices, to live owning the consequences of our life choices? And I think that that's something that we can actually ponder each day and think, okay, yes, freedom. What does it actually mean to be free? Because I feel more free now than I ever did once that freedom came from somebody else dictating my life. I really felt not very free at that point. So I think that's something good for us to reflect on. Romans gives you challenging thoughts. Have a wonderful day. See you soon.